Welcome to Unfiltered, the state of Gordon State. We speak truth, we care, we want our school to grow and win. My name is Castro, and I'm here to lead this conversation of the future. Gordon State has great people. We have pride, but we also feel stress. We also feel worried about the future. So today we ask bold questions. Our intention isn't to attack anyone. We look for answers. We look for teamwork. We look for change that helps every student. This conversation matters. Our voices matter. Gordon State matters. Our goal today is simple. Talk honestly, find solutions, and build a stronger future together. So let's get unfiltered. We're joined today by our leader, Dawn Green, our president of the school. And it's very nice to see you today. How you doing?
It's nice to see you, Alex. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
No problem. I thank you for actually finding the time to come in here and do this with me.
Yeah, it was a little crazy at the end of the semester. We had to jump around a little bit, but we made it, so it's all good.
Yes, sir. And today, as you can see, like we're just laying it all out on the table.
Mm-hmm.
We're answering questions that students want to know. Students really want to know. And one of the questions that I see students asking a lot, especially during orientation, because as you know, but the viewers don't know, I am a goal. I've done 2 summers, doing orientation leadership.
What's a goal, Alex?
Orientation leadership. And some of the questions and the students and the parents ask are some things that they want to know, but it's not the setting to be asking those questions. So this is the reason why we're doing this. And I'm gonna go ahead and start asking these questions. One of the questions is, what challenges are affecting student life the most right now?
That is a great question. And one of the challenges that we see is really similar to institutions all across the country. I mean, it's the typical stresses of being a college student: grades, cost, student behaviors. I remember telling my parents when I finished my first semester at college and I was staying in a residence hall, and I said, I learned more in the residence hall that semester than I did in the classroom. And they thought that was really funny, but I meant it, because for most students, it's the first time that they're living with someone outside their family, and it's playing by somebody else's rules, getting used to somebody else's habits and behaviors. So, that's definitely one of the challenges that's always there affecting students. Are there other ones? Yeah. One of them that we find is we provide a number of classes to students online, as well as face-to-face classes on campus here. And for some students, they think that they want to have lots of online classes. They see it as convenient. I don't have to travel someplace. I don't have to walk across campus. Early in the morning, I don't have to be in a classroom, whatever the case might be. But one of the challenges that they often face is there's a certain level of discipline and rigor that's expected from you yourself. You have to produce it, because I'm not in a classroom staring at a professor who's saying, hey, where's your assignment, right? Everything is online. And so for a lot of our students, we have to kind of help them to understand that you may want to be online, but that might not be the best alternative for you. So that's one of the things that we see challenging students sometimes. Another one is, it's funny because most students these days do not want to hear about COVID. And I get that. But ever since COVID, it really did change how we interact. We see it on our campuses. There are less student engagements like clubs and events. There are a lot of students who spent a fair amount of time at home away and kind of got into a habit of a little more isolation. And so we find it kind of challenging sometimes. We want to put together events. We want to see lots of attendance, and students shy away from it. So we're working really hard at Gordon to try to get people more engaged, to get students more engaged. We can talk about that later if you want. Well, I'll give you one example, right? We've changed our course schedule. We took 1 hour out of the middle of the day that's no longer scheduled for courses. And the reason for that is both commuter students and residential students then have the opportunity to interact, and it gives us an opportunity to have more club meetings, more events on campus, and to locate those meetings right near classrooms so that students can be more involved. So that's out there. I think one of the other challenges that we face is just around behavior. What is appropriate behavior on a college campus? And that's true of campuses all over the country, right? So one of the things that we're always working with is students not necessarily understanding how to respect the boundaries of other students. And, it's in part about students learning how to advocate for themselves and say, hey, you've crossed a boundary here. This is not the behavior I want to see. And other students learning, wow, I really do need to respect other people. And that's something that we're seeing in civil society across America. So, we see it as imperative that on our campuses, we're serving our students by helping them to learn how to interact in society.
Mm-hmm. And I totally agree with that. Like, especially with this last topic that you said, the about the respect thing. It's also what I've seen, and for the listeners that are listening right now, I, as a student, I'm a student worker, and what I do is in this college campus is work in the residence halls. I am what they call a resident assistant, or RA. One thing that I've noticed is it's just a lot of distractions.
Yeah.
A lot of distractions, and those distractions come with the form of the freedom that they didn't have before, living in their parents' houses. They get to party, they get to do all these other stuff that they didn't get to do before. And that's why we love our helicopter parents.
Yeah.
That's why we love them.
You and I both, like when we have orientations, we talk about how we love helicopter parents. Maybe not snowplow parents that want to clear the path for their student, but I got no problem with students having a parent looking over their shoulder periodically, making sure that they're getting the grades, that they're doing the work, that they're getting things accomplished.
And this is why I also tell them, because I'm a little bit older than the rest of my peers. I did come as a non-traditional student. A non-traditional student is somebody that came not straight out of high school like the traditional students before. I came a couple years right after I graduated high school, and it was a little bit of a process to, get into and everything. And we could talk about that later on. But, as me being older, I already did all the things that they've done, and I could see the mistakes that they're doing that I've done before, of course. So one thing I've always told them is, I'm like, just be smart. Be smart about the choices that you make. And that comes with not trying to lie better or sneak better or anything. It's more the fact that have fun. College is meant for all these new experiences. Yes, of course. Have fun. This is a time where you get to know yourself better, to actually see who you're gonna be. But school comes first.
Yeah.
School comes first. Definitely 100%. And then everything else follows.
Yeah. Alex, I was in residence halls 40 plus years ago. I mean, I can't believe it's been that long. Things haven't changed. Students didn't always respect their fellow students. There was a maturation process that had to take place. I mean, it's not any different, but those are the challenges that students face. And, one of the things I tell parents is we're helping your student to become an adult. And we can use your help in doing so. But our process, our path is to helping them to mature and grow so that they can be successful in a variety of different ways.
Yes. And to go further on to our second question, whenever have these problems, do you feel like these students are being heard when they speak up? And if they're not, how do we fix that gap where they don't?
yes, students are being heard. And, I think I have 3 examples. I can't go into details, because of privacy issues, but 3 examples come to mind. And I will talk specifically about me. I don't say this lightly, but you've heard me say many times that I try to be the most accessible college student in America, or college president in America. And, I try to live up to that. So I've had students show up at my office. One had a question about housing. One had a question about student discipline. One had an issue with needing a hold lifted from his account so that he could register for spring semester classes. Had nothing to do with Gordon. Had to do with another school that he had transferred from that was not giving him his transcripts, which, by the way, federal law says you have to give. In those cases, I jumped on those immediately. And we were able to get resolution very quickly. I hope, I wish, I desire, and I express that all of our staff and all of our faculty act with that kind of urgency. Having said that, I'm not always the right person to talk to, right? Because if somebody has an issue with housing, they should be talking to the housing director. If somebody has an issue with a grade, very common. I get students who text me, email me, they'll call, and they'll just say, I'm really unhappy with this grade, and I want to do something about it. So they go to the president. And it's like, well, there's a process. And again, it's kind of one of the things that we have to help students, and sometimes parents realize, is just because you're the president doesn't mean you're the person who's necessarily going to solve the problem. There are people far closer to the situation who will have far better solutions for you. Sometimes it's the dean of students. When it's a grade appeal, you start with the faculty member. And so often students will say, well, I don't want to do that. That's like really uncomfortable, because what if I make them mad? But that's part of growing up, is recognizing that I have a situation and I need to advocate for myself. Okay, so maybe the answer that you felt you deserved wasn't what was ultimately accomplished. Then you go to a department chair and you have that conversation, right? There's a process. And again, in America, we've kind of decided, well, if I have an issue, I'm just going to go to the CEO, or I'm going to go to social media. I mean, you see that all the time with people complaining about different organizations. So one of the things we're trying to help people to understand too is, find out what the process is, and we'll help with that. Now, having said that, there's a bigger question about just communication on campus. And one of the things that I ask students to do is get engaged, join clubs, join student government, come visit your president, stop in and introduce yourself, right? People are like, whoa, that would be really scary to walk in and say hello to the president. Alex, how long have we known each other?
Oh my God. Practically since I got here.
Yeah.
Almost 3 years
because you were
ago.
one of those people who just walked up and said, hey, how you doing? I'm Alex Castro. Nice to meet you. And I'm like, hey, Don Green, pleasure. And that was really the start of a relationship. But in many cases, those relationships can help you. They might not find you the instant solution, but it gives you the opportunity to get guidance and to give feedback to leadership to say, can we do this process differently? Could we provide, one of the things you were just talking about it earlier, but you want a particular career path, right? In your case, you want to go to law school, but you want a particular career path. If you can't join a club that serves your career interests because we don't have one, the beauty of Gordon State is it's small enough. Go create one. Get 3 or 4 or 5 buddies who are all in the same program and have similar career goals. Go create a club. Those kind of opportunities really helped us to hear from students, and it helps us to provide more in the way of services to help students to succeed.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, I've been here for the past 3 upcoming 4 years at this point. And like I could say, like in the very beginning, like, you know, because it's a work in progress. Like you just got here, what, like almost
2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit different back then. Like in order to go and talk to everybody, because everything's so fast paced. The world will just go so fast that you will have to go and like make the effort to go introduce yourself and do all this stuff. But it was a little bit step above because of the fact that everybody, since they're so caught up in their own stuff, that it's so hard to sit down and talk to somebody, or sit down and figure this one thing out, or sit down and just have a conversation, like actually get to the nitty gritty of your problems. And like all these new people that are coming in, especially you, or Dr. Stackhouse, that she is an amazing woman.
Yeah.
I worked very closely with her for a while now, and she is an amazing woman. She is very strong, very independent, and she listens to the students.
Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah.
Like, and she always tries to give everybody the benefit of the doubt because of the fact she understands that even though we're young, old, in the middle, we're going through life the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the beauty of this campus in particular, because it's so small that you can make those connections.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate enough whenever I first came here, I met, she's no longer with us. She actually went to another school. But she was the greatest. Like she was my first year English teacher. Her name was Dr. Michelle Perry Stewart.
Yeah.
She is an amazing woman as well. And I just got to talking to her, and she got me all the connections that I have now. Basically, like when I like starting as a little grunt.
Yeah.
Not knowing anybody, not talking to anybody, because you know you come in and you're in your shell. You don't want to burst out of that shell until you meet that one person. That one person to me was her.
Yeah.
She introduced me to my bosses now in the housing. She's the one that got me the job there, because she's like, for you to have these connections, for you to go ahead and have these connections so you can move forward in life, so you can have all these opportunities, you need to be on campus.
Yeah.
You need to stay on campus because it's more accessible to you. I'm like, well, how am I going to do that if I don't have the money to stay here? Like,
Right.
how am I going to do it? She's like, well, I can go introduce you to this person. I can introduce this person. Like, we can get the means to do it. All you got to do is ask.
Right.
And that, to me, is great, because you don't need a buttload of people
Right.
to listen to you. You just need that one person. And luckily here, there's a lot of people that care. Like Dr. Jansen,
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Powers.
You know, everybody that you're talking about, they all lead with love.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they love their students. We all love our students. We love to see them succeed. Just today, 2 separate students stopped by. One of them, I won't give any names, but one of the students stopped by. She comes to visit me every semester. And we just talk about where she's going with her career. And that career is going to be at Georgia Tech and ultimately to graduate school with the intent to starting an IT company. The other one, first real conversation today, she just booked some time, 30 minutes. And she said, I just want to have a conversation. What you're hitting on that is such great wisdom is engaging. And unfortunately, a lot of students show up on college campuses and they go hide away in their residence hall and they play video games and they go to class and they go to Starbucks and they go back to home or to their room. Then they go back to class and they go back to Starbucks and they go back to their room. But really engaging, getting to know people, it gets you jobs on campus. It gets you involved in different organizations. It ultimately helps you to create a great resume. There are so many opportunities, but you've got to be a part of building that.
Mm-hmm. Like, I wouldn't say I'm the most open person there is, because I'm not. I'm a mixture of an introvert and Outrovert. I think that's what you call them.
Extrovert.
Extrovert. There you go. I'm sorry.
There you go.
A little brain fart here. But yeah, like I'm a mixture of both of those things, and like I'm not an outgoing person. Like the reason why I do the things I do, one is because I love talking to people. I love talking to specifically people that are younger than me, where I can pass on the wisdom that God gave me.
Yeah.
That's the reason why He has me on this earth.
Yeah.
And like me getting out of my shell, it brought me to all these things, all these people that I met that are helping me, that are going to be helping me even with the next leg of my journey, which is going to be coming up soon.
Everybody that's listening to this podcast, so you just need to know this about Alex Castro. We were talking before we actually started recording, and when Alex first got here on campus, a little shy, little reserved, little careful. No surprise. That's like normal for anybody that's coming to a new experience. But by this year, I'm walking out for new student orientations to say hello to the crowd and kind of talk about my role here and my experiences with what breeds student success. And Alex would be finishing up as I was walking on stage, and I'd be like, "Hey, Alex, come on back out for a second." And you didn't miss a beat. Like you could just jump in and talk with everybody in the audience. And I just was so pleased to see that growth in you. I mean, that's what we're here for.
Mm-hmm. And that was not easy whatsoever. Like a person.
What? Somebody taking you by surprise and you pulling me back on stage?
Yes, that was even just something that I was expecting. Like it was not easy. Like I still have the biggest stutter that there is, especially when you put me on the spot. But like Dr. Stackhouse, she brought me out of that comfort level that I was in, and I put myself in that comfort level, and it was not good.
Right.
Why? Because of the fact that I could do so much, and I have those leadership qualities, but I wasn't doing anything with them. So like now, like I have all these people that are bringing these qualities out, these good qualities that are already instilled into me that I particularly didn't even know that I had inside me, and they're bringing these out. And look, like I have a professor that's just recently, Dr. Valerie Calhoun. She just recently nominated me for this society that's very well known, that they help with scholarships and stuff like that. That is very helpful, especially for a student, especially for a first generation student like myself, or like somebody that comes from a very low income household that doesn't have the same means as somebody else, you know. So that's very helpful, and it just took talking to one person.
Yep,
and that's it.
Yep, just engage. Mm-hmm. Just engage. It's going to feel uncomfortable at first, but just engage.
Yes, sir. And to move forward with our next question, how can we better support mental health and safety on campus?
Oh, great question. Great question. So there are a lot of students, you know, we talk about these things during orientation, but orientation's kind of a blur, right? Mm-hmm. And it's brand new, and there's a lot of information being thrown at people. And for a lot of students, they do ultimately struggle with especially stress. You know, usually we can watch this. It kicks in somewhere around mid-semester, right? And then the reality of grades and expectations and workload starts to kick in a little bit. And I have to remind students, a college degree is worth a lot in your life, but anything worth a lot requires work. And sometimes that requires stress as well, but healthy stress. So we have to remind students that we actually have mental health care here on campus. We have a great team of counselors who are terrific with all aspects of mental health. And then we actually have online services and phone-based services for off hours when there might not be counselors available right here physically on campus. So you can just pick up the phone and call. You just say, hey, you know, I'm a Gordon State student, and we can provide those services as well. It's extremely important that we're doing those things. In addition, with safety and security on campus, one of the things I'm very pleased with is when I got here, I was concerned about the safety and security of our students. And you talked about Dr. LaToya Stackhouse, right? Dr. Stackhouse and a number of us really took the bull by the horns. And student behavioral incidents or issues of different kinds are down over 70% in the last 2 years. So, we've really brought a far more calm environment to the institution, and we're very, very proud of that. We're very pleased with that. We are going to be beefing up security more, and that's, it's not because it's an unsafe environment, but this is the world we live in. You just need to make sure that you know who's coming to your residence halls. You need to make sure that we are monitoring who's coming in and who's leaving and when and how. So we continue to invest more in that, and it's a regular conversation, and I'm sure it's a regular conversation across college campuses all over America. But we just want to make sure that we're creating a safe environment for our students.
Mm-hmm. Especially with the very unfortunate situations that be happening, like just recently in other campuses, where somebody will come with bad intentions, and that's one thing that I'm very glad that we haven't had here.
Yeah.
Mostly because of the fact that the RAs, or the CLs as we call them, the community leaders, they do a really good job of overseeing stuff, nipping it at the bud when it comes down to it. Also, like the new security nowadays, like they are very timid or are very cautious about bringing that kind of stuff into this campus, and which is very great to see because we want to take care of our students.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that they're doing good, not just with their safety, but with mental health too, because that's something that they don't even want to talk about.
Yeah.
They think they're above that because, when you're at that age, 18 to 25, you believe that nothing can touch you.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're right. And we continue to push things like we have a campus security app that we use on our phones. We are adding more in the way of card-based entry systems across the campus. We want to make sure that it's very safe. And then, we're in Barnesville, Georgia. We're close enough to Atlanta that you have access to entertainment and other events and shopping and all those kinds of things. But we're also in a relatively small town, which certainly helps. You don't have to worry about the kinds of crime issues that can appear in some other larger metropolitan areas.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm glad to see a lot of the community leaders that we have here, that they're so intertangled with the students because of the fact that before a situation arises, they flag it.
Yeah.
Why? Because, we, of course, in every campus around the world, you have very messy apps like Fizz and stuff like that. Of course, you're going to see those. But luckily enough, you have these students where they can go in there, not because they're trying to be messy on themselves. No, we're not talking about that. It's because even I'm on it. And it's because of the fact that I want to be able to see what's going on before it happens, because they're very bold nowadays. Students that be trying to do stuff that they're not supposed to be doing, they're very bold nowadays, and they put everything on social media. Social media is everything. So that's why I'm very happy to see the staff that we have right now, because they know that, hey, we need to watch out for this. We need to make sure that our students are good.
Yeah.
Even with the stuff with mental health, like we get trained to handle those situations.
Yeah, and you need to be. And going back to social media, one of the things we try to educate all of our students on, certainly CLs, is the unique risks that social media can create. And to your point, this generation's been raised on social media. Quite often they want to put everything out there publicly. And one of the things we try to teach students is you don't need to make everything public. A little privacy can actually be advantageous.
Mm-hmm. And like one thing that I've noticed is something that the students really don't know about is that website that counseling has.
Yeah.
The one where you get credits to be able to talk to thousands of therapists. It doesn't you don't have to stick to one therapist here. Even though the therapists that we do have here, the counselors that we have here are amazing
They are
people.
awesome.
They are
Yeah.
awesome, but if you don't want to go in person because maybe you don't want people to know that you're seeking counseling, which is very understandable because you're valid to your feelings. Um, you have that where you don't even have to leave your room to go
Right.
find help.
Right. Well, and like one of our counselors, I won't name names, but one of our counselors went above and beyond to create a time every day, every week, where you can just drop in and be a part of a group kind of therapy conversation session. And it's really for people who say, you know, I don't need to go see a counselor, but I'd just like to have somebody to talk to. And it's a great opportunity for that counselor to be able to provide just some quick advice, guidance, and just help de-escalate situations before they might become an issue.
Yeah, and then like another thing, like one thing that I've noticed is that the students are even taking initiative. Or one student in particular, I know you know her, is Robin Jeffers. She is an amazing young lady. She has been taking strides in making clubs about talking about mental problems, talking about how to deal with grief, and talking about all these things that most people don't know how to handle, and they don't know how to ask for questions, or more the fact that they don't want to go to an adult and talk about them, but they have this student that is practically the same age as them, and they're very outgoing, very, very, like, inviting in themselves, that they have the student there to help them with that, because of the fact that she knows what it's like.
Yeah. Did you know that Robin's going to be playing a significant role in
Graduation
this
Yes.
Friday? So yeah, and again, that's one of the beautiful things about Gordon State is, all the students that are participating in graduation, especially those that get up to speak. It's not just like some talking head. It's people that are part of our community.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just so happy to see her where she's going. And it's shout out to Robin. If she ever listens to this, shout out to you, girl. You're doing amazing. Keep up the good work. All right, so let's move on to the next question. What will Gordon State look like in the next 5 to 10 years if we don't fix some of the issues that we see arise? And what is the best version of Gordon State that we can build if we act now?
Oh, it's a great question, Alex. So I'm going to start with the second half of the question. What's the best version of Gordon State that we can build? We are continuing to renovate, innovate, and build our curriculum. We're offering more and more new programs, and those programs are offering tremendous career opportunities for our students. Programs like cybersecurity, entrepreneurship, computer information systems, accounting and finance. We now have a respiratory therapy completion program. We have additional opportunities to get to a bachelor's of science in nursing. So there are different pathways to do that. Teacher ed programs. So one of the things that's extremely important for us is when you graduate here, you are career ready. You can move on to graduate school like you, or you can move into the career field. Human services just came to mind too. People say, yeah, I know what DFACS is at the state of Georgia, but do you know who the people are that actually do the work every day at DFACS? And that's students like our graduates from our human services program. Lots of responsibility moving into those roles, but we're really proud of those students. We have this program called P2T, which is Parapro to Professional Teacher Program, and it allows students to move into parapro roles in K-12. And then from there, while they're working, they get to complete their bachelor's degree and become a certified teacher. So we want more of those kind of programs. They're extremely important because in the long run, that's what helps serve our students. But along with new curriculum, we have increased our enrollment. We want to continue to grow enrollment. That's extremely important for our future. Our retention is way up, and over the last 2 years, retention has increased 18%, something like that.
Mm.
And our graduation rates have gone up, but we need to continue that work. We want to see more and more students graduating. If you're going to come here, we want you to graduate. That's extremely important. We've added fraternities and sororities. And I know that there are, if a parent happens to be listening to this and they're like, oh, I've got real concerns about Greek life or about fraternities and sororities. The ones that I'm seeing that we have on campus, they care deeply that students are successful. They care deeply that students graduate. That's the kind of relationship that we want between our fraternity sororities and the college. We want more clubs. We definitely need more clubs. We want better residence halls. We actually took an entire building offline and renovated it to have nicer facilities. We're going to be doing more and more of that this semester, next semester. It's important that we have really nice facilities for people to live in. We want to continue to maintain cost. People worry about the expense, the cost. Okay, Alex, I'm going to put you on you should know this. You should know this from new student orientation.
Mm-hmm.
What is the tuition for an entire 4-year degree at Gordon State?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot.
I am.
You know how long it's been since. Oh my goodness.
$19,000 total for all 4 years. That's less than 1 year at a lot of universities. Same PhDs teaching you, same curriculum, very, very affordable. But we got to maintain that. So when you talk about what we're doing for the future, what else? We need to get our student life more engaged. We need to have more clubs, more events, more activities, especially in the residence halls. We need activities that help students mentally, physically, and career-wise so that when they graduate here, they have an amazing resume, but they are really, truly prepared to jump into their career and their life and be successful there. We want to clean up the campus. It's beautiful. It's pristine. It's really great, but we want to keep it there. We want to keep it very, very well maintained and probably expand walking trails, expand outdoor activities. It's just really important that we give students healthy alternatives. You kind of alluded to that earlier. It's really important that we give those activities. So those things are very, very important for our future. I think we probably need to expand our mental health services even more. And that's just what we see trending across America for the future. More young people are really cognizant about their mental health, and they want to be sure that they're maintaining it. And then one other thing, this goes back to careers that we really want to get started here, is a strong internship program. We have some internship programs, but we'd like to have them for every different curriculum. Mm-hmm. What am I missing?
Well, I did have a question.
Sure.
Speaking of building and speaking on healthy choices, especially because of the fact that a lot of students want to have those, accessibilities like the gym, going to the SARC, having those areas where they can go and they can get out of their rooms and do all these things, right? The pool.
Yeah.
What are y'all going to do with that area? Because we would have loved to have the pool.
Yep.
But at the same time, understandably, there's other issues that have, going along with that. So now y'all cleared it out and stuff like that. So what are y'all planning on doing with that?
I got no clue.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm just being honest with you. When we sat down, you said I'm always really straight with you. I have no clue. Right now, we need to figure out what we want to do with that space on our campus. to provide greater opportunity for students. One thing I did forget to mention is we've brought a health clinic on campus. And I think there are probably other services that we need to provide, that we need to be bringing to our students to make it more convenient for them. So, stay tuned. We'll see what that space brings.
Very exciting.
It provides an opportunity for construction. I suspect that at some point in the future, we'll develop a new degree program or series of new degree programs. Those will probably be around careers. And when that time comes, we have that space available to build new labs and new services for our students.
All righty. We are getting close to our time, but we have enough time for just one more question. What small change could be made right away that would have a big impact?
So when I think about that question, it's a great question. If I'm reading it right, right? So you're really saying, what kind of things with my role, what kind of things could administration do? And one of the things I think we need to do is require orientation for our students. So if you're listening to this podcast and you are planning to come to Gordon, and I hope you are because there's tremendous opportunities there, we have an orientation program. We strongly encourage that you attend orientation. Obviously, Alex and I are big fans of orientation because we both work it all the time. But so many students say, yeah, I don't want to sit and have to listen to all this information for 3, 4, 5 hours. But those are the same students who 4, 5, 6 weeks into the semester start to get frustrated because they don't know how to do something, or they don't know that there was something they were supposed to be getting accomplished. So to help students to start stronger, I think that that's extremely important. I mentioned the introduction of an internship program. I think that's immediately necessary. I would love to see a very intentional partnership program between student government and administration. And that partnership, which I'll be reaching out in the new year to our SGA to talk about, would be creating opportunities for students to communicate like we are, but every week, where there's just a short period of time every week, and it might move around in location and it might move around in time throughout the week. But the idea is come and share ideas, innovations, questions, concerns, so that we can help to make life better. I think we need to continue to improve our residence hall facilities. They need to be clean, safe, spacious, bright, cheerful. I think those are all things. I get questions about healthy eating at the cafeteria. I think students would like to see more in the way of healthy choices. And so I'd really like to see us do that. And I think we are going to, we've done a lot to tighten up the educational opportunities and help students to be far more successful. I talked about the retention piece, and there's still so much more that we can do to have even more successful students. And, like I said, our graduation rates are growing dramatically, but there's still so much more we can do. So we created a partnership with an organization called the National Institute for Student Success. And that organization specifically studies what are the best processes and procedures, the best strategies you can employ to make sure students are really successful. So we started partnering with them this semester, and the idea was to create a playbook. So we're just going to go out and start introducing a whole lot of new strategies. So I suspect that we're going to see even higher leaps in student success. And I think that we need a series of new programs that engage both our commuter students and our residential students. So our commuter students tend to be a little less connected to the college because they see themselves as just coming to class as opposed to coming to college. And I think there are opportunities for us to be able to build that. Those are a few things. What else? What else? Talk to me. What do you think? What would make a big impact?
Honestly, I think you nipped most of the things that I would personally agree with right on the nose, right on the nose. Um, another thing that would help out a lot is getting these students. We always say it. We always repeat it. Getting them more involved.
Yeah. Getting
them involved with the school, with the community. Getting the community and the school to coordinate, because it's not as big as it used to be, but there is a gap between the school and the community here in Barnesville.
Yeah.
It almost seems like we're in two different worlds.
Yeah. Oh, I got a great one for you. So, in the School of Business, we are starting a new entrepreneurship program. Okay. And one of the things that a lot of students who are in other majors besides business, when they hear entrepreneurship, they just shut down. They stop listening. They say, oh, that's for business majors. Just the opposite. Typically, in most entrepreneurship programs across the country, the people who are most successful are those who are in other disciplines besides business, because they see needs in their industries that they can take advantage of. So we've gone out and created this really high-end team of business advisors, people who've been extremely successful in starting new companies, and they are going to be an advisory board for our students. So these are people not just from Barnesville, but from neighboring communities as well. So if you kind of looked at not just our county, Lamar County, but every county that attaches to it, that's connected to it, that's where all these folks are coming from. But they're all willing to come and work with our students to start exploring new business startup ideas. And, you think about that. One of the fastest and most likely routes to wealth in America, not the only sign or measure of success, but certainly it can be advantageous. One of the best routes to wealth is entrepreneurship, starting your own successful company. So I'm really excited about what we're doing there in the community. Mm-hmm. Oh, and another way that we can do a better job and where we're going to have a greater success is to have more podcasts like yours, mm-hmm. because it gets more of the word out for students so they have a better idea about what's going on around our campus.
Mm-hmm. Just to be very clear to the listeners, this was a class assignment. This was a class assignment, and it was something that, quote unquote, I had to do. But I find a very big pleasure in having these conversations because of the fact that we're not children. The students here, we're not kids. These are some things that we have to discuss. We have to be on the nose about, because if we don't know our own school, then why should we say, oh, Highlander pride?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, okay. So I think you would agree with me that if you're going to come to Gordon, if you want to be successful, advocate for yourself, something that we try to teach every one of our students, be brave, and engage.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And unfortunately, we don't have that much time left, so I'm going to go ahead and start saying the outro. But before we go, I do want to say a really big thank you to you, Don. It's a very good pleasure to have you here and sitting here with me and talking about these things. So I just want to give you a round of applause. I love this soundboard. It's just so cool. But yeah, I thank you so much for being here with us.
Well, and I got to tell you, coming up in the next semester, you will have the opportunity to walk for graduation, for commencement, and I look forward to handing you that diploma and giving you a big hug.
Yes, sir, and I look forward to it too, because as much as I love Gordon, I'm ready for the next step.
It's exactly what it is. We want to build you to do that. We want to create that. That's the passion we want. Thanks, Alex. Appreciate you.
No, thank you very much. So to close off, thank you for being here, for being open. Thank you for listening. This is not about blame. This is about growth. We all want Gordon State to thrive. We want the Highlander spirit to stay strong. Today is a step. The future is our choice. Let's choose progress together. My name is Alex Castro, and this is Unfiltered, the state of Gordon State. Stay aware, stay involved, and stay Highlander strong. Thank you.